Well, I don't mind saying that I hate this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Talking to a microphone on me is so feckin' unnatural. I am so much better with a live audience, or perhaps even some conversation and soundboard off of. But anyhow, I'll crack open a beer and get this silly shit started. I want to speak a little on language because I notice the problems with it constantly. And what brought this to mind were, thank fuck for Quantum Eraser and Nathan Oakley. Because, I learned the scientific method in grade school, and I found it easy enough to understand. And with people throwing around experiment and hypothesis these days like it can apply to anything, it's been ridiculous. And people will say, well, I'm using the colloquial. Well, don't. Colloquialisms were invented to keep laymen from knowing what the fuck is actually going on. It's newspeak. I'm certain everyone's familiar with Orwell's 1984. And, a big difference between the controllers and the controlled are different dictionaries. I mean, this is obvious every time you set foot into a fucking courtroom. Yeah, you get a good slap in the face with it there. Well, I mean, all around, this is the way it's done. If they don't want you to know what the fuck they're up to, and yet they have this rule where they have to, tell you about everything they're up to, but in ways that you're not going to understand. I mean, fuck anyone. Anyone with their eyes half open who's watched The Simpsons knows this. But, fuck, I lost me thread. I must need another chug of beer. Well, this all brings to mind, an old story. There was this place called the Plains of Shinar. Shinar, I love that word. You know that translates watch of him that sleeps? Yeah, think about it. It's genius. But anyhow, in the Plains of Shinar, there was this city called Babel. And the center of Nimrod's kingdom was there. So anyway, they got to set out on a systematic plot to overtake heaven by force. It's an uprising. It's mutiny. So here they are. They're building away. They got their tower to heaven going. They're building a stairway to heaven. Oh no, that was buying sus. But anyhow, where was I? Oh yeah, they're building this tower up into heaven. And the story even says that they'd have been able to accomplish all of that which they'd set out to do. I know it sounds nuts, right? But hey, that's what it says. And so, what does their leader do about this? I mean God. Well, he confounds their language. They're all united under one purpose. He confounds their languages so they can't communicate correctly. Well, there's a left-handed monkey wrench you'll never turn a nut with. So anyhow, the same tactics are always employed now. You confound the language of the masses, and there's no way they can figure out what's going on or unite to work against it. You throw in a bunch of Hegelian dialectics and get them all steered in the directions that you want them, and they'll constantly stir up the shit pot. Have George Soros come up with and fund things like Black Lives Matter, and bus in motherfucking shills to keep it going, and there you go. They're all fighting with each other instead of uniting and fighting against you. And they're constantly redefining terms for the masses as well. I'm trying to come up with one off the top of my head. I'd thought of several earlier, but, when the microphone's not on, it's all fresh in your mind. But, anyhow, we got people running around throwing experiment at everything. And, it's absolute nonsense, because we were trained that the word experiment means that it's been through the scientific method. And it hasn't. And then they want to label things theory. We've already been taught that a theory has made it through repeated testing of the scientific method. It's gone from an hypothesis to a theory. The theory of evolution, the theory of gravity, theories of gravity, and these aren't even valid hypotheses. They can't be taken through the scientific method. And I've noticed that more recently, they've even removed the word theory from them. They just teach the children, the fact of evolution and gravity. Well, they don't exactly label it fact. They just took away the word theory and make it appear as though they're teaching you a fact. And, hang about... And this is right after, as Nathan tried to tell Bob Knodel. This is right after they've taught you the scientific method. And on page 34, you're looking at the molten iron core. And it's nonsense, but they lump it under science that way. My beer's getting lonely. Oh, and speaking of Bob Knodel, just a pet peeve of mine. But, my point there was, oh, God, the way Nathan went in there and explains this to Bob, and, Jaron and all of them, they see it, of course. And, Bob throws a little petulant frenzy, has an egotistical fucking breakdown, and puts out a slander video about Nathan. And then I continue to watch as Jaron and Bob and all of them still go on to call everything an experiment. As simple as the lesson is, and Nathan put it out there, it's like they're incapable of learning. It really, really makes me question their ability to research. If they can't learn that simple of a concept, how am I supposed to take their word when they say that they've looked into more complex matters, for fuck's sake? And, another thing, as long as I'm thinking about Bob Knodel, I don't mean to just bash Bob, although he deserves it. Yeah. Shout out to Bob Knodel. Fuck off. But anyhow, he's one of the many who constantly say ridiculous. For real. Ridiculous. The root word is ridicule. Would they say ridicule? Nah, no one says ridicule. The roots and etymology of words are very important, and they go around spouting ridiculous. That pronunciation leads me to believe that you don't understand the definition of the word to begin with. Because, without looking it up, I'd say the definition is roundabout, worthy of ridicule. Yeah, I'm certain ridicule would be right there in the definition. But anyhow, I digress. But as long as I'm there, I hate people that say nuclear. What the fuck is nuclear? It's nuclear. 2 syllables, motherfucker. New and clear. Get it right, for fuck's sake. Just because you watch fucking idiot Bubba W. Bush fucking mispronounce the word on the telly for fucking decades. Well, not exactly decades, but it felt like it. You don't have to mispronounce it as well. Anyhow, I've ended up down the garden path and digressed off into no man's land here. I had better points when I turned this on to record, honestly. But yeah, there's things, they can even, because language, you know, that's our main tool for communication. Yeah, practically the only one, aside from, well, a lot of times you don't even see body language and facial expressions and whatnot because you don't listen to recorded voice or read. So, yeah, language is the utmost of importance for our communication, and they've got so many ways to screw us up. It's just like, not that we're taught critical thought. Oops. You all right there, little skull? Okay. Not that we're even taught critical thinking in the schools anymore. That's the last thing they want. So we don't get the liberal arts. The children aren't learning the trivium and the quadrivium. But the trivium teaches critical thought. And it has to be taught right. Because if you reverse the last two steps, you've got mind wash. And that's how people are taught. If you look at the Masonic staircase, they've switched the last two steps of the trivium. They've got it grammar, rhetoric, logic. Now, that means you take in the grammar, right? And you put it straight to rhetoric. You parrot. You learn to be a good little parrot and repeat back what you've been told. And then you get to go out there and figure out a way to make what you've just learned logical in your own mind. Make it fit in somehow. Whereas, if it's done the right way around, you take in your grammar, you logically think about it, you free it from contradiction, you research it more deeply, you find out all you can until you put it together where you have a good understanding about it, and then you can commit it to rhetoric. Because you've mastered it. Well, maybe not mastered it, but at least you've gone far enough that you've something decent to say. So, yeah, left and right we find where they confound the language, just like the old Babel story. They confound the language of the masses, and just like the story, that renders us helpless. Yeah, no more uprising. Yeah, no more uprising. Who gives a fuck? There's going to be no revolution. The motherfuckers can't even understand each other, and they damn sure can't understand what those that are controlling them have to say, because, well, they have a better dictionary than you do. You get my point? Well, I'm not sure how much more I can actually say on this without anyone to converse with. I should probably, well, I don't even have any subscribers, but I was going to say I should probably have a live hangout where I could converse back and forth with at least one other individual, because it kind of keeps me mind firing on all cylinders, you know what I mean? That sat here on me own speaking to a microphone, I feel rather silly, you know. It's searching for the right word for it, but yeah, I feel like a jackass, basically. I suppose that would be the right word. Lighter. So anyhow, I guess I dipped my toe in the water of joining the conversation here, and I'm sure I'll be back soon with more to say. So, and I'd just like to add, being as I brought up Quantum Eraser And Nathan Oakley, in recent time, Nathan Oakley and Nathan Oakley 1980 are the best channels on YouTube. You know, all of these other motherfuckers, it's incredible. I mean, it's Babel out of control. Yeah, and we're never going to get it together when people's egos are so large that they can't get past them to simply learn, correct themselves, and move on. We're going to remain with our confounded language being thrown about forever if people refuse to learn, or even learn and then let their ego get in the way where they won't correct themselves. Absolutely asinine. Anyhow, I'm just going to end up prattling on forever and waffle like mad if I don't shut the fucking thing off now. So, I'll see y'all next time on Hee Haw.